Alright guys, in the previous episode, we created the header section and the footer section. And in this episode, we are going to be building the hero section, the welcome section, and this background that shows whenever we scroll past the header section. Alright, so the first thing we're doing is I'll open my DevTools. And I just noticed that there's a little issue right here. Let's quickly fix that. So I'll go to VS Code and look for the footer, the Astro file, and this should be the third row. So 1, 2, 3. And I guess this should be on the large devices, not medium devices. So if we check back now. Alright, so it's fixed. I think it's the same with this one as well. Yeah. Alright, so for the hero section, let me just scroll back up. We just need to go back to our code, and inside this source folder, we'll create a new folder called sections. We are going to store each of these sections on the home page. So make sure you're in the source folder, and I'll click on this new file and say sections. Then I will say hero.astro. So inside the hero.astro file, I will bring in the code fence and import the background or hero image I'll be needing. So I will say hero, let me just call it hero image from, say, go up to level and assets and look for the hero BG or JPG. Again, the images will be on a Google Drive file. I think this is what we need for now. I will just also import the image component from Astro. So Astro also has its own image component like Next.js, but we'll be using it for just the hero section, I believe. I think all the other section will just use the normal image tag, because later on we'll be routing the images to come from Sanity, and it's going to be way easier because we won't be struggling with different types issues and all. So what we have to do now is to create a new section right here, and I'll give this a class of empty. So margin top, we'll give it 10. Then inside it, create a new div, and I'll give this a class of relative and a z index of 40. Then inside this div, I'll create another div, but this one won't have any content in it. This one will just be like an overlay. So say absolute left will be 0, top will be 0, height will be 4, BG will be black, opacity will be, let's set it to like 70. So this will be like an overlay that will be on top of this image. Then underneath, bring a new div and give it a class of container. Also add the display of flex. The height should be 100 VH. We'll set it to flex core. Items will be start. Justify will be center. Then inside this div, we'll have another div again. So make sure you're inside this particular div. We'll have another div again, and this we have a class of z index of 40. mx will be auto because we'll be giving a max width of, let's just say 600 pixels, and I'll be centering it as well. So essentially, we've not added the content yet, but all this now will be, or we have a max width of 600 pixels. So inside here we'll have the h1. I'll just copy it like so. So the luxury has this primary color, which means we just need to put this inside a span tag, paste it like so, and give it a class of text primary. While for the h1 itself, we give it a class of text 600, font weight of 900, so that we're very bold. At large screens and up, we'll set the text to, like, let's use an arbitrary value this time, let's say 4M. Also have the margin bottom of 2, a line height of, let's just use 1.3, and the text should be white. So if we check back now, nothing is going to show. And you know what, since this doesn't change that much, I think this as well, they are central, we'll just leave it as it is, like so. So we need to go to our index to Astro, because this is the root page or the home page. So make sure that this is being complete, and inside here we just say here should be the hero section, and we'll pass in the hero section component. So we import it like so. And again, for SEO, you can still choose to set the title to whatever you want, like this, because we've already added it right here, but we made it optional. But the home page should still have the same thing as this, so we won't need it right here. Okay, so if we check now, hopefully we should see it like so. Cool. All right, so the next thing to do is to add the, let's make sure we're in the hero to Astro. So underneath the h1, we'll add the p tag, and for the text, copy it like so. I'll paste it here, and for the class, we'll just add a, we'll add the margin bottom of 4, text of white, and on large devices and up, and on medium devices and up, we'll set the text to 200 font size. So if we check now, we should see that showing right here. Then for the button, we'll just bring in the button from shard.cn. Let's make sure we're importing that. Then we'll add the a tag, and this should link us to the rooms, and we'll say book your stay. And sorry about the noise, guys, it just started raining here. So for the button, we give it a class name, and we'll give it a weight of 600, and on medium devices and up, we'll set the text to 100, which is 1 rem. So if we check back, yeah, so it's coming in fine. Then lastly, we want to add the background image. So we'll come outside this, so like so, and bring in the image tag that we've already imported. Then I'll add a class, and this should be absolute, left will be 0, height will be full, width will be full, object will be cover. Then let's also add the negative z index of 10. Then we'll also add the source. Make sure you're inside like so. The source will be the hero image that we imported, and for the auth tag, you can also add a hero image. So if we save and check back now, we should see the background image. Okay, the background image is coming through, but the overlay is not showing, so let's fix that. All right, let's check again. Absolute left height is okay, so width should be full. I think this was the issue, or this is the issue rather. All right, so it's working as it should now. So we didn't add the width of full, like so. All right, so ignore this. We're going to fix this in a bit. You can see it's not contrasting well. All right, so that's for the hero section. We'll move on to the next section, which is the welcome section. All right, so still in the sections folder, we'll just say welcome to Astro. And for this, we just need to bring in the section tag and give it a class of PT28, so padding top of 28. Then inside this, we bring in the container class, and inside this, also bring in a new div. I'll give this a class of max width of 3XL. Then make sure everything is centered, so MX auto. Then we'll make sure everything is centered, all the texts are centered in the middle as well. And inside this div, we'll bring in the H2, and let's first of all add the styling for it first. So we say text of 500. Then on medium devices and up, we say the text size should be 600, and the font weight should be 600. And let's also add a margin bottom of 1. So just quickly copy this like so, and I will paste it here. So I will save. And for the paragraph text, we'll also do the same thing as well. So bring in the paragraph tag, paste it in, and for the class, we'll give it a text of large, and for the color, we'll say text muted foreground. All right, so let's check if that's showing, and it's not going to show because we've not imported it. So we'll go to our index Astro file, and we'll say welcome section, and we'll say this should be the welcome component, and let's quickly import it. So by the way, the way I import, I just make sure my cursor is at the end, and I press Ctrl plus spacebar, so it's going to give me a drop down, and I'll just quickly import it. So I will save this and go back, and it should show like so. All right, cool, but we are not done. We just need to add this other section right here. So for that section, we'll go back to the welcome file. Still inside this div, we'll come underneath and create a new div, and we'll give this a class, and this should be margin top of 10, should be flex, justify should be center, gap should be 6. Then inside the div, we'll create a new one, and inside this we just pass in we'll call this h3, so this one can be the 100 plus, and underneath we'll pass in the p tag, which will stand for luxury rooms. So we're currently doing the first one, so give this a class of text 3XL, then the font should be bold. Then for the p tag, we'll give this a class of text muted foreground, and for the text, I think the one we have here is quite small, but I will just leave it as it is like so. Then I'll copy this 2 more times, like so and like so. Then I will replace the text. So this one should be guest rating. So say it should be 4.9 guest rating, and this should be concierge. So this one will be concierge, and it says 24/7, like so. And let me digress a little bit. You can see that I was getting some auto completion when I was typing, like the one you're seeing, like so. If you don't like me using this, you can let me know in the comments. The reason I'm using it is because number one, nobody have complained about it yet, and it's quite faster for me when I just want to quickly type something that is really straightforward and I don't want to stress myself by typing it from the ground up. But as the videos are coming out, if you guys don't like me using any of these AI tools like Copilot, Windsurf, and all, just let me know so that I will just turn it off. All right, so if we check back now, everything should be like so. I think it's even better than this one. Yeah, cool. And if we also check for the mobile side of things, let's scooch this down a bit. You can see everything is still very much okay. We can also choose to reduce this one, so we can say it's quite optional. So we can say the text should start at like 200 or like 300. Then this should now be like 500, and large devices and up should be like 600. So this should be reduced now. And then you can also do the same to the p tag as well. So you can see the p tag should only be large when it's on medium devices and up. So you can see now that this is smaller. So I will just leave this for you to play with it and just use what works for you. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do in this episode is to add this background color on the header section where we scroll. Okay, so to do that, we will just need to go back to the header file, and we need to store the position where we scroll to in a state. So we need to bring in or create a new state, and I'll call this one scrolling, and set scrolling, and it's going to be false by default. So like I said, we want to change our header background color when we scroll, and we need to make sure that the function that we'll be creating for that, it only runs once our page loads. So to do that, we'll be using the use effect hook, and we'll create a function, and this should be an empty array because like I said, we need this to run just once. And inside this use effect function or hook, we'll create a variable, and I'll call this handle scroll, and this should be an arrow function. I will need to get the scroll position on the y-axis. I'll say const scroll, this should be on the Windows dot scroll y. So what we want to do now is to check if the scroll, basically this y position, is greater than a certain value. So for instance, we can say if the scroll is greater than 100, now let's console the logout greater than 100, else I can say lesser than 100. Oh, you know what, instead of all this grammar, we can just add the false right here, and we can just add true right here. And of course, this is not going to run yet because this function is declared, but the value is not really read. So we want to do this when we listen for a scroll event. So we say on scroll, we want this handle scroll function to run. Then to avoid memory leaks, we just do a return statement to clear out or clean up the event listener when the components are mounted. So we just say windows dot remove event listener. I'll say on scroll, then we'll pass in the handle scroll again. So if I go back now and open my DevTools again, let me make this a bit big. So once I scroll now, we'll get a true value, hopefully. So you can see now, we're getting a true value. Then once we are less than 100, we should get the false value like so. So now that we've established the fact that that is working, we just need to now store the values, this true, which is these boolean values, inside this set scrolling function. So we'll set the set scrolling to true, else we'll set the set scrolling to false, like so. So we can now use the state to do some manipulation on our UI. So we can come to this header now and let's change this to backticks. So this should be backticks, this should be backticks. So we can now add the scroll state. So we can say if we're scrolling, we want the background to have the background color, then I want it to also animate in as well. Then the duration should be 500, and else we want to animate out and the duration will be 500 as well. So let's check if this is working. So if we scroll now, you can see it's animating in like so, which is really cool. All right, so but if we go to mobile, I think some things might break, especially when we go to the light mode. So you can see on light mode now, these texts are not looking good at all. So what I will do is I will go to, let me just close this out. So these texts are not really readable at all. So before this, I'll create a new function and I'll call this get text color. And this will make sense later on as we progress in the series. So I will just quickly return the scrolling state and see if it's scrolling. We want the text color to be the foreground color, else we'll just default it to the white color, like so. So we can come right here and also just do the same here and just say get the text color, and we need to call it like so. So if we check now, you can see that since we're on the light mode, everything is now using this fallback, which is text white. And if we scroll, you can see the background, everything is still working as it should. And if we go to dark mode, everything should still work as it should as well. So let's go to the mobile view now. Are we on dark mode? Yeah, so let's go to light mode again. Yeah, so let's also change this to system, which is dark, and if we hover, everything is working fine. But the only issue that we're having now is that when we are on light mode and we open this menu bar, the nav links are white. Then, but on dark mode, if I go to system, everything works fine. So to fix that, I think what we'll have to do is to come to the nav bar and make sure that we're on the mobile nav. And right here, I will just add the text to foreground. So basically it toggles the color when we are, so basically it switches the color when we toggle between light and dark mode. So now it should show dark, and when we're on dark mode, everything should work fine. So this should be light. All right, so this has been fixed, but I noticed that we can't see the hotel right here, but if we scroll down, we can see it. But when it's at the default stage, we can't see it. But if we close it out, we can also see it. So what I will do is that I'll go back to the header.css file, and I'll go to my logo right here, and I'll use the back ticks again, like so, and I will say if it's clicked, so basically if the menu is open, we just want to set the text to black, else nothing. So if we check now, you can see it's working. So once we close it, it will go back to its previous state. And if we're on dark mode, which is the system mode, everything should, and let's try it again. So let's open it. Okay, now it's still the black background, and I'm thinking instead of using black, we should just use the foreground so that it should toggle based on the background. Okay, yeah, so I think this is much more better. So this is really nice. So if we go back to light mode, let's try it again. Yeah, so this is working. Cool. All right, so one more thing is that if you notice, the button here is white and ours is black. So we'll go back to the button, which is in the hero. So click to the button, and let's make sure that the default color is white, not foreground. So let's set it to white, like so. So this should be white, hopefully. So I'll go back and let me do a hard refresh. All right, so this is white and every other button should be white. All right, guys, so that's the end of this series. You already know that I don't do well polished videos because I like to make mistakes and want you guys to see the mistakes I make in real time. In the next episode, we are going to be building the category section and the amenity section.